A year ago, police began complaints about Jolly. This woman, we'll call Lynn, says he molested her for almost 5 years.
Pretty much just everything except for intercourse itself. Around the 4-year period, I guess you could say around 80 times. And about the age of 12, 13, roughly 12 or 13, I was having a very difficult time accepting it and refused to go see him, and he would send for me.
While Lynn's case exceeded the statute of limitations, police are using her testimony in their investigation. The charges facing Jolly, 1 felony count of first-degree sexual abuse and a misdemeanor of sexual abuse 3rd degree, involved 2 others, reportedly a woman and a child. But police believe there may be additional victims.
Knowing that there are other children, other girls subjected to him, that's the hardest thing that I'm dealing with right now, that I know that it can't happen anymore.
Jolly was released on $75,000 bond. This alleged victim says that's not enough.
It's just very hard to accept that he just was able to walk in and then walk right back out.
Now, police say bond for Jolly was low because of his age, 82, and because he is a diabetic. And Karen and Rick, we are told he is currently leading a church in Caseyville, Illinois, and we're told that the people over there are well aware of the situation and the charges, but he does have a lot of supporters on both sides of the river.
Loyal supporters.
Yes, very much so.
And what about this woman's story, the woman you talked to tonight? Right. Is her story consistent with the 2 children?
Authorities say it is, and she is working with the other woman and a child. The other 2 victims, the victims of these new charges stem from. They are, as they would say, comforting each other. And police, as I mentioned, this woman has exceeded the statute of limitations. They are using her story in their investigation, which does continue into Jolly, because they do believe there are other possible victims out there.
Okay.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Thanks. Top story tonight, with word that many religious denominations are finding themselves dealing with the very uneasy task of ministering to ministers.
As News Channel 5's Dan Gray reports in the Night Beat, religious groups are making very public statements about how they plan to take action to prevent wrongdoing by members of the clergy. Yeah?
Rick and Karen, this news, in addition to the charges against Reverend Thomas Jolly, there have been 2 other high-profile news stories questioning ethics of members of the clergy.
Nothing to say.
Former Catholic priest James Porter returned to Minnesota today from Massachusetts, where he was charged with 46 counts of sexual abuse. Authorities say he molested dozens of children in his parish in the 1960s.
While I cannot change the past, I can do something about the future.
Earlier in the week, the headlines of religious scandal came from Chicago. Catholic Cardinal Joseph Bernardine announced a new policy dealing with priests' sexual misconduct.
Would not let a person who shows those tendencies, or who has those tendencies, we would not let that person continue on to ordination.
It's not just the Catholic Church taking action to prevent wrongdoing by members of its clergy. Seminaries of all faiths are placing more emphasis on ethics.
One of the big areas now is the area of clergy ethics.
Enoch Oglesby is a professor of ethics at Eden Theological Seminary in Webster Groves. He says all students are required to take courses on ethical issues as it relates to the ministry. Churchgoers hold their ministers and priests to a higher standard.
One might think that one is always concerned with skill, competency, those kinds of basic things that one would expect from a person who would attend a graduate school. Increasingly, what some of the studies show is that people in the congregations, in the communities, are concerned about the character issue.
So the final take on our top story tonight, church officials say ministers have to do a better job addressing the ethics problems. Among the suggestions, more education and more and better communication between seminaries of all faiths on what is being taught to seminarians before they are ordained. Rick and Karen?
Of course, this is something no one used to talk about. No one probably knows how widespread this problem is.
It's hard to get statistics from private church officials on personnel matters unless something does end up in the legal system, then you could have statistics. But 15 years ago, we had never maybe even heard about this problem. Now there's more public awareness on it, and church officials are quicker to respond and respond in a public way about it.
It gives children more courage to speak up.
Right, more of them are speaking too, exactly. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.